of Appeals is now in session for April 30th, 2018. And the first order of business is we have new members here.
Yes.
Would you introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure, I'm Len Sorelli.
Eric Welch, go by Rec.
Okay.
And I'm Joanne Stinson, not new.
And she's been a member for quite a while. And call to order. Do we have an approval of the minutes of the May 27th, 2017 and January 29th of 2018?
And just to make sure it's clear, I think, right, for both of them, just Larry and I can vote,
Yes.
because you guys weren't
We
on the
under- we
board at
understand
that
that.
point.
Okay.
I move to approve the minutes of May 22nd and the minutes of January 29th.
All right. And then the new business is the application of Donald and Sonia Perkins, 3 Hutchins Road, 075-016-000, zone LRR2. Reason is a setback reduction. Is either Donald or Sonia Perkins here? Would you please go up to the dais, state your name, and tell us what you want to do and the reason for your appeal.
Okay. I am Donald Perkins on behalf of Donald and Sonia, my wife and I. As you see in the application, we're seeking a setback reduction from 30 feet to 15 feet so we can put an attached garage to our property.
Would you tell us where 3 Hutchins Road is located in Raymond?
Sure, it is on Hutchins Road, which is off Jones Road. It's map 7516. It's
Near 302 North Raymond?
it's right off the Cape Road,
Okay, so it's
right
on
near the
Raymond Cape.
Hawthorne House.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we have pictures here.
Yes. I believe.
He's seeking a setback reduction from 30 feet to 15 feet from Hutchins Road in order to build a 2-car garage attached to the house. Hutchins Road is a 1-lane private road, as are all roads bordering the property. Number 1, in order to build a standard 2-car garage without resorting to expensive tree removal, big pines, and septic interference, a setback reduction is the best economic environmental solution. As shown in attached sketch plan, the lot is odd-shaped with resulting constraints. As mentioned in above question, large pines and existing septic configuration are driving this setback reduction application. We feel a setback reduction in this mostly seasonal neighborhood of camps by the lake, where several properties, structures are very close to private dirt roads, maintains the current character of our neighbor's garage, and has a reduced setback already. Correct. It is based on the parcel shape, size, and our desire to maintain established environmental aesthetics. For example, the desired location will not increase the lot's impervious area or frontage. Desired location is gravel pavement already. And we have a picture of the house. It is a greenhouse, kind of a Cape Cod house.
Yeah.
There. And there's where you want to put your garage. And then we have a lot, description of the lot, which is kind of a, well, it looks kind of like 2 mountains. Long straight up and up,
Yeah.
see? And it's fitted in on Hutchins Road. Then we have here garage map. And where the other cottages, those are camp, shit camp. There's a house there and a house there. You were on the road. Dan, I assume these are 2 letters, or 1 letter from abutters, Wayne Whitney and Linda Whitney. They're your neighbors,
Yes, they are.
and their frontage is on that road. And I'll read what they have to say so all will know what it is. To whom it may concern, I am not able to attend the Appeals Board meeting April 30th of 2018. My wife and I are abutters. We are not necessarily against anything, but have noticed that the boundary line stake has been removed. This is the stake for 4 property owners. The stake was on the right-hand side of the road as you can go from Jones Road down Hutchins Road. I was wondering how a decision can be made when the boundary stake is not there to measure from. Thank you, Wayne Whitney and Linda Whitney. Do you have any news for us of what this boundary was? They called it a stake. Was it an iron or a wooden stake, or what was it?
Well, he doesn't get too specific on it, but I think he's talking about, our properties touch 2 corners. Ours is number 16 on the map, and he is number 8.
18?
8. If you go back to a larger view on one of the map pages, map 1, I think.
He's number 8, okay.
He's number 8, and we're 16. You can see our 2 points touch. And I think he's talking about the stake that would mark those 2 points.
Okay, where the corner goes up in a sharp angle.
Right. And you can, you
number
know,
17.
yes.
Can I make sure I understand that? Is it across the road? Where? I want to make sure I understand that, if no.
Where lot 8 is from us?
Yeah, I see where 8 is, and I see where yours is, but the road runs across there, right?
Correct.
So where is the pin, on which side of the road?
Yeah, he's saying it's on the right side of the
If he was
Okay.
traveling from Jones Road, turning onto Hutchins Road,
Okay,
it would be on the right-hand side, I believe. And I think he's probably talking about, I was looking for that stake myself. I think the snowplow got it. It was a piece of rebar.
It was a metal, it was iron.
Yeah.
is it actually
And,
here?
I
you know,
think
if
so.
that stake's
All right,
not
no,
there,
Make sure I get it, because I'm a little slow, I think. Is it right here? Is that what we're
Yes.
talking about?
yes.
Okay,
So my lot 16, and then there's 17, and then 8
Yep.
and 7.
That's the
We
one.
would all, I guess, share that stake.
so his
And if
property
that's-
goes across the road?
What's that?
His property goes across the road to that point?
Yes.
So is the road an actual right-of-way
It's
instead?
a private road.
Private road,
Yeah.
right-of-way, okay.
Well, you know,
Thank
you raise a lot of questions that I have questions about that stuff, too.
Could I ask you a quick question, Chairman? Donald, has your property been surveyed?
Yes, I have a survey out in the car.
You do?
Yeah, 2006. If that stake's missing, there are other stakes, there are other measurements that could easily be rediscovered where that point is. You know, people do that all the time when there's some
Could you,
kind of...
before we made a decision, could you have the surveyor come and reestablish that pin? Is he a local surveyor?
Yeah,
Do you know who he
Yeah.
was?
yeah. Like I said, I have a copy of it in my car right now, I just brought it.
Before we
But I
get
don't
to
know if
that-
that's really
Yeah,
necessary,
before we get to that, can we,
because I don't think that's why
maybe
we're here.
look a little bit closer at the placement of the garage and its proximity to Hutchins Road,
Yep,
which I think is where you're requesting the setback from,
right.
based on the walkthrough. I'm just curious, Donald, if, with the picture of your house, can you just I don't know if you have a plan drawn up for a garage yet or anything. Can you just explain how it would sit there, where you'd enter the garage?
Yeah. Yeah, I put that, well, we have this picture here,
Yeah,
this color photo I think everybody has. And I put with pink highlighter garage. And you can see my front entrance to the house. We would maintain that front entrance, have the garage along that corner of the house, those birch trees and that hemlock tree in front of the house. The garage would basically go where those birch trees are. The house is 36 feet long. We would come possibly 24 feet along that and out towards the road about, I mean, that's however far we could without running afoul of any kind of reduction.
your application specifically said 15 feet, and we'll go
Yeah.
over the, that you wouldn't go less than 15 feet.
Right, correct.
And we'll go through the section that we need to in the book about the regulations. And that's just important because for a setback reduction, we can't let you go close, we can't
Right.
let it be less than 15 feet.
Understood.
Right?
Yes, I would, and we're just asking for 15 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, not anything less. And you see on the last page, this is map 3, we have kind of the plan view and where the entrance would be off the road.
Okay. So it's a straight in, you don't have to turn either way or anything? Straight
Correct.
into your garage?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think I mentioned in one other question, my neighbor on lot 15 already has a garage within a reduced setback that we're trying to get.
It just, again, so I'm kind of a visual person. You got the garage right up against the house there, but that looks like that box where your current entrance is, but you said you wanted to maintain that? How does that?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, on the last page, the diagram with the garage.
Yeah.
It's right up against the house. I
Right.
understand that.
Yeah.
But that does remove where you step up and go into your home, is that correct?
Yes, that stairs, that existing stairs in the pictures would be gone.
So how would you enter the house? Through,
On the side,
okay,
you'll see where it says, I think there's an arrow, proposed garage, there's an arrow like on the corner. Where there's a,
okay, thank you.
can you see, it would be on the side, the short wall of the garage.
Yep,
We'd have an entrance there,
thanks.
and then we'd get up to our existing front door.
So,
Tried to make it as clear as I could on this plan view.
no, this is good. I mean, it's, the drawings are helpful to me. Scott, do you see within this, and you've been to the property too, based on what we need to consider is the proximity to Hutchins Road and that setback, do you have any concerns right now about that pin that the neighbor has brought up?
Well, the pin, the only thing I could see, I mean, the garage, it really goes parallel to that
Yep,
property line. The only thing that pin would do on that other side would establish basically where that road is, and then his pin corresponding down the other side of the lot, where they, you know, where that line is established, that would tell you, I mean, that would be the only thing that it would, whether or not that they measured off that correctly. I mean, they can reestablish that pin and measure off there to make sure that that's where they're at. I mean, that's up to you if you wanted to put that.
and do you require, how do we guarantee that we stay in the 15-foot proximity?
Well, for me, if it was just a standard, if they, let's just say they weren't going for a setback and they came in for a garage, for me, I usually, if it's within 5 feet of the property line, I'd want at least a single line survey done so that that they could adequately tell me how far away the building was gonna be.
Okay.
That's normally what I would require on that.
And in doing that, someone would have to figure out where that pin
Yeah, a
was
surveyor would come
anyways.
in and do a one-lot survey.
So would that then be a condition that we would put in, or that automatically would be done with you?
I would probably, that could be either way. I could request it as well as you as a stipulation. But I mean, I would normally require it on such a tight lot like that, that we could at least pin that, because it's really just one corner of his garage that's the issue.
Right.
And all I'd ask is that that one corner be pinned properly, and not necessarily have to establish them. They'd be able to establish where the line is and then measure up and pin it, as like before the foundation is put in, or as it's put in when the footing, before they put the footing in, they can pin it to establish that 15-foot setback.
Because I'm just trying, so we could throw that in just to make
You
sure.
could,
we cover our
or I
bases if
would,
we
but either
need to.
one.
Okay. I'm just trying to make sure I understand if the concern about that other pin falls on us or somewhere else in the process.
Well, I mean, that kind of, I mean, really, all you're granting him the setback, it's the permit part where he's gonna have to prove to me that he's within that 15 feet, that's been required from you, that you
Okay.
issued. Yeah, he would have to prove that to me, that he can meet that.
Okay. Okay. You guys have any other questions you think of?
No.
Do you have any questions, Donald?
No, I just noticed in that letter, it says we are not necessarily against anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're more concerned
Oh.
with that pin
Yeah,
being going.
I mean, I don't know. We're not here to dispute property lines. We're here to try to get a reduction on an existing setback.
Well, if there's no other questions, for the record, I'd like to go through the proper shoreland zoning provisions, just to make sure we've covered everything,
Sure.
so that we can do the proper consideration. So you can sit down if you don't want to stand up there while we go through this.
Okay.
Just want to make note first that, like I like to do, the minimum setbacks. If you look on page 15 of 70 in section 15, you guys want to, either of you have it, minimum lot standards and setbacks. And down under number 3, the front setback is normally 30 feet. Just want to make that point, that that's what he had to deal with. If you see in your book, 15 of 70 in section 15A3, yep. Bear with us, this is a good education to walk through the book. It can be kind of,
No?
I'll
can
show you.
continue.
I'll show you
I'll
afterwards,
catch
no
up.
point. But just that what he had to deal with, the normal setback would be 30 feet from the road. And Donald has requested a setback reduction. So under section 16 of the shoreland zoning provisions, under administration, number 2, letter F, where they talk about how the board may grant reductions from the minimum setback requirements. And number 1, I'll just read through these and let's all just, if someone sees any of them that's of concern, please speak up immediately. Setback reduction appeals are only available to reduce the minimum requirements for setbacks of structures from lot boundary lines. Setback reduction appeals shall not be used and are not available from bodies of water as provided in these provisions. Number 2, setback reduction appeals may only be granted and are only available for lots with a residential dwelling as the principal structure. And that's what we have on this property. Number 3, the Board of Appeals may grant a setback reduction appeal if the board finds that granting the setback reduction will not result in unreasonable interference with privacy interest of the abutting landowners. Number 4, in granting a setback reduction, the Board of Appeals may attach reasonable conditions which it may deem necessary to serve the purposes of these provisions. Number 5, a setback reduction appeal shall not be granted to enable construction or renovation that will create additional dwelling units. And there's no dwelling units going in this. This is a garage. Number 6, a setback reduction appeal shall not be granted to enable construction or renovation that will result in more than one garage on the lot that is subject to the appeal. 7, no setback reduction appeal may be granted that will result in pervious surface lot coverage of greater than 15%. And I know we didn't have the exact numbers on here, but I know in looking at it and I looked at a tax map and it didn't look like there was any concern
Well, plus two, it's asphalt.
where it
he's
already
going to be
is
putting-
now,
yeah,
so it doesn't
he's not
increase
gonna-
that.
Yeah, he's just exchanging impervious for
That's
impervious
right.
right now.
Thank you very much. Good. And 8, setback reduction appeals may only be granted to the minimum extent necessary to accomplish the purpose of the appeal. Setbacks may not be reduced by setback reduction appeal to less than the following absolute minimum setbacks. And the front yard on that, we're not dealing with the side or rear issues. The front is 15, and that's why, Donald, we were focused on that, because that's all we're allowed to do within this. So, does anyone have any concerns about any of those?
I don't.
No? What about you, Larry?
I
Both
don't.
sound good? You guys are both good? Okay.
The only concern I have is on the letter about getting that pin reestablished. It's very important to keep, the best pins are stone walls. And Jack,
It's the snow plow, I think, because I didn't remove it. He said it was removed. I don't think it was removed. I think it got plowed up.
Yeah.
so you think it's bad, or is it pushed down in the ground, or?
I went looking for it because I knew it was going to be helpful for my application, and I couldn't find it. I haven't gone looking for it in quite some time, but I remember seeing it at one time. It was a piece of rebar, and it was bent, having been hit probably from a plow already. And, evidently the plow just took it one of these seasons.
Well, that would be my only concern, to satisfy Linda Whitney.
Sure. And I think that could easily be reestablished from existing pins that are still there. I mean, we have measurements on the map here.
Well, I'd like to propose that we add the conditions then to, I don't think of how to say this properly, but we add the conditions that Scott sees proper surveying, I'm not sure how to say it, to get so that it doesn't get any closer to the road than the 15 feet, also taking into account where the proper boundary lines are.
It could be something similar. I mean, you can say that the front line needs to be established to show proper setback, and that the footing be pinned, which would kind of more or less be the same thing that I would ask, but you can put that on as, that way we're guaranteed that that pin does not encroach any more than the 15 feet that he's asking. And it wouldn't be so yeah, you can ask for that if you want.
Hang on, I'm trying to write that. So the front line needs to be established utilizing the pin in question by the Whitneys to assure that 15 feet from the road is.
Yeah, because when the surveyor comes out, he's gonna find the one pin, and he's gonna find the placement of that other pin. If it's not there, he'll probably drive one in the ground.
Okay.
That way it would satisfy the neighbor's concern. Unless he may be able to find it when he's out there too,
Okay.
and then
Yeah,
just
that's true.
reestablish it that way.
Then I move to approve the application for the setback reduction on the front to 15 feet under the conditions that the front line is properly established by a surveyor with Scott. Also using the pin that's in question by the abutters, the Whitneys, to either find it or, anyways, to use it to do the boundary line to the front setback.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that'll be fine. I mean, because really, like you said, basically what we want to do is we want to establish that front line. Whether he finds the pin or it's replaced, it has to be established before, as part of the permitting process.
Is that good enough, Mary? Do we get that?
I'll get it off the tape.
Okay. All right. You guys get, is that good with you?
It's good with me.
Someone want to second that?
I'll second it.
Do you have any-
Question?
Yes.
Is this something that I'm going to be responsible for doing?
Well, like I said, it would either happen during the permit process or no. I would want a front line survey to establish that corner.
So like I said, I have an existing survey.
If you have an existing survey, we still have to make sure that the measurements off that are exactly at 50 feet. I am not a licensed surveyor, so I won't go out and measure it. And that also, herein lies the problem, that if you go out and measure it, you're not a surveyor. It could be off if we're not going directly at 90 degrees from the house out. For me, I usually don't accept them from the homeowner because they're not a licensed surveyor, so the accuracy could be in doubt.
Okay, so how are we going to get the front line established?
You could call whoever did that survey. They probably might have everything written down. If that's only been 2003, they probably got a written record. They could come out.
2006.
Yeah, so they probably, if they're still around, they should be able to have paperwork. They'll come out, set up their transit, shoot that line, mark it out, tell you where the absolute corner of your foundation has to be, just that one corner, because everything else falls way beyond the 15-foot mark.
Right.
So you would have to work with Scott on the permitting process, and that would be in with the permitting process
Mhm.
as well. Yeah.
Okay.
And because we have to be assured that what we've approved is, that it happens, that it stays within the 15, because then it also goes to the Registry of Deeds
Yep.
that this has been approved this way, so,
Right.
okay. So did we get a second?
Yeah.
We did.
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
And the next one is the Code Enforcement Officer Communications.
Well, as far as the Zoning Board of Appeals, we'll have another meeting next month. We do have another appeal coming forward. It's a change of use from a church to a residential on Webb's Mill Road. I can't remember the exact address, right? 584, I think is what it is.
I don't remember.
It's the old Catholic church by the beach.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yep. Somebody, they're coming they want to turn that into a residential unit.
That was a dance hall. That was built for dance halls.
I did not know that. And it became a church. Interesting.
Now it's saying
Is
residential.
that proposed to be a one-family dwelling?
Two. You are allowed to do two families within that zone. They're in the same zone. I believe it's LRR1 or LRR2.
Yeah.
I believe he's one, but I'm not sure on that. It is a very tight lot, but they're proposing to put two units in there you'll see it in your packet, but with a garage in the center of it.
And that's on May 21st, correct? Everyone's aware. You get that, Larry? That's on May 21st.
Could I request that Mary Quirk call me during the day? At my age, I forget everything.
And I think we'd all mentioned earlier, the site walk would then be scheduled for May 12th. Larry.
I will do so, Larry.
And before we adjourn, can we talk about just some housekeeping.
Oh, sure.
That's all right. We talked about, I know it's been brought up for our attorney, Mary Costigan, to come do some potential training.
Yeah, I'm not sure where we've been in discussion with her, not sure where.
Right, I want him, I need to get hold of Steve and see when he will be back up, and if he wishes to participate in that, so we'd schedule it with when he'd be back up.
Great.
But I'll be working with Mary on that and let everybody know.
Good.
So
And-
get your questions ready.
Yes, yes, because we already, most of us, I think, in the group had said we could let her know we would like to talk about variances versus setback reductions
Mhm.
specifically.
Or,
It'd be
yeah,
great to
appeals.
talk about that. That's all I have, Larry.
Okay, and then do I hear a call for an adjournment?
I move to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you very much.